I mean, I guess some people say, I did a small part on Friends,
Yes,
but
for sure that.
and people say that they sort of knew it was me, but they don't. I don't think they know because when when someone says I love Seinfeld, and I was like, oh yeah, I did an episode of that. People would go like, no,
Yeah,
no,
you're kidding.
Yeah.
My poor mother. She died in June. And she loved the ocean. Just loved it. My poor mother, she had a beautiful house in Carmel. And she tried very, very hard to be a really good mother. Even though she didn't have any maternal instincts or skills. She was always in search of male affection, and she was a nymphomaniac. I'd walk in her room and I'd find all sorts of strange men in her bed. She had borderline personality disorder. She took her money and she manipulated people with it. And she was cruel. Yeah, she was very, very cruel. She was so cruel. And I just, oh, mother. My mother told me I would never be a ballerina, and that was when I was skinny. My poor mother, she just couldn't handle her jealousy. She had to take me down. And what's weird is I miss my mother, even though she was a big jerk.
Welcome to the Actor's Side today. Wow. And as you can tell, this is Jennifer Coolidge, who's an Emmy nominee right now for Outstanding Supporting Actress in a limited series, anthology, or movie for television. It's a big category. And so well deserved. I looked up on IMDb, listed in your filmography are 190-ish credits in your career, which is amazing. Ever since you started on, I think it was an episode of Seinfeld.
It was. That was sort of the big yes. Yeah, there was some tiny little show that actually, I'm some weird lady that's like clipping her hedges or I don't even remember what the show was, but that got me my SAG card. And then Seinfeld was the next, was the real, breakthrough moment.
What a way to start.
That was pretty cool. Yeah.
One of the greatest sitcoms of all time on television.
Yeah. and I can watch it over and over. It never gets old.
Yeah.
My friends all feel the same way. All my friends, we all talk about how it's like the show that just doesn't get old.
No, and it's never out of air. Everywhere in the world, people are seeing that. I imagine people come up to you and talk about that, being on Seinfeld, probably.
They don't really know it's me. Very few people mention Seinfeld.
Is that right?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think, I had a sort of different, I guess I had a different look going on and, or something, but people don't ever say that.
When you look at all your credits though, my gosh, I have to say, you pick your directors really well. You're in that Christopher Guest group. I love those movies.
Oh.
Best in Show, you were so great in that. And
thanks. Yeah, that was a fun group to be part of, and
yeah, for your consideration, Mighty Wind, all of that, Mascots. I'm curious about Best in Show. That's a movie I can watch over and over and over again. And working with those dogs and that whole troupe, all of you, Jane, everybody in that movie was so great. So great.
I know, that was a very cool experience. And we were all up in Vancouver shooting that, and that was really fun filmmaking. I mean, the thing is, if you're doing a movie where it's all improvised, the dialogue's improvised,
right.
It makes every day exciting because you have no idea what your scene partner is going to say to you, what other people, any of the other actors that are going to come up and say to you. It's all very, it really is. I mean, the word is exciting. It's sort of exciting because, you know, the unknown showing up and you know, you sort of have the jitters and you're afraid, what if I'm speechless? What if I, you know, but somehow it all works out. Somehow it just, you get in the groove and it all works out. And yeah, I did like 4 of those films and, what a gift! What a gift!
It
It
really
really
is.
is to be
And
part of
you
that.
know,
You came out of the Groundlings, right?
I did.
Yeah, and so you have that kind of training to be able to handle improv and all of that in any situation that comes up. I imagine with that experience behind you.
Yeah, you know, Groundlings was incredible, but I always felt like I was the least talented improviser there. I felt like you know, there were so many other people that were just so fast, you know, and I was, you know, a slow improviser. My responses were always much slower than everybody else when we were on stage, and it would be like some ping pong ball going back and forth, and be like, bleh, bleh. Everyone's like, yeah, yeah, and then it'd get to me, and I'd be like, well, you know, I just was slower. So I never felt like I was a winner at the Groundlings, but I do like that it has really helped me with some jobs that I've gotten, and you know, it has helped. You know, sometimes the director will say to me, you know, even Mike White, or you know, will say, "Why don't you just improvise?" You know.
Did he on White Lotus? I was curious because he's a genius, first out and out genius, and I know he wrote this in about a month. But it's, but I was wondering if all of you improvise, because it is just so extraordinary, the entire ensemble here.
Yeah, I want to make sure though that I really say one thing, and that is just 99% of my dialogue in the movie, 99.9% of my dialogue in White Lotus 1 was written by Mike White.
Wow.
But there were times he asked, you know, he let Natasha Rothwell and myself like improvise this scene about like relationships we had that had gone wrong, and he just let us, you know, talk for 15 minutes or something, or 20 minutes straight, just talking about, and that was really fun. We were out on the boat doing that, but I don't think any of that made it into the film. I mean, into the show. But so really, Mike needs to get all the credit, all, you know, for the speech. You know, the speech he gave me on the boat. I mean, he really, so much of that was his work. So I just want to make sure I'm not, you know, saying, oh yeah, I improvised a lot on White Lotus, because I
that speech on the boat, not only your performance, but his direction of it and the way he got the reactions of those people on the boat going back and forth. It was so brilliantly shot, that whole scene. And I heard you were seasick.
I was very seasick, yes. And, you know, but yes, and, you know, I felt like, you know, there were some cast members, I was seasick, you know, and it's so hard to be seasick with people so close to you, because there's one bucket, there's no ladies room that anyone can escape to while you're filming, and so it's a very uncomfortable thing, and I think some of the actors' disdain for just how uncomfortable it was, sort of came out on their faces and made it work even better. I mean, look, they're all great actors, but it was a lot for them to have to deal with someone getting sick in front of them, and there was no time to deal with it. Right. We had to just deal. You know, we just had to. Carry on. You know,
well, you know, and this is all shot in the middle of a pandemic. I guess the 4 seasons in Maui where you shot it was pretty much empty.
Yes.
Right? So that sounds like, in a way, a kind of dream job, being stuck in Hawaii.
It was. It was. I mean, it really was. Like, the camaraderie between all the actors, I think it was magical, because we only had each other, and we all got to really know each other, and it was there was so much laughter at the dinner table. You know, it was a very, very warm group of people that I hope, you know, will be in my life, you know, forever. But you know, the 1 or 2 days that we got to escape and leave to go shoot the scenes on the boat ended up, you know, being I felt bad for everybody, because they were so excited to go out there.
Yeah.
Everyone, you know, we're like, we're free. We actually get to go up the driveway of the hotel, and we go outside the gates, and then you know, and then, you know, they spend the day, you know, having to watch some grueling seasickness, and I think it wasn't what they had in mind. But,
Probably not, but
no.
it's an experience, an acting experience.
It
right
was
there.
an acting experience. Well, you're right. But yeah, but I really, I can't say it enough. That was it was scary. It was during the pandemic, of course, but
did you have any trepidation
cool
in taking on this job? I mean, you live in New Orleans, I think, or something.
Yeah.
You're there during the pandemic, and he calls up and goes like, "Can you do this?"
Yeah. See, what happened was, I said, you know, I was like, oh yeah. Oh, I said, what do you mean? Mike is like, yeah, I wrote. Remember that show I told you about the rich people on vacation? I was like, yeah, and he goes, well, HBO is giving it the green light, and I said, oh God, that's so cool. God, that's amazing, Mike. And he's like, yeah, you know, we're gonna be doing it, and like, we're gonna have you fly out there in like 2 weeks or something. And it was like that, and then I just was complete. I know it sounds like I'm making it up, but it's a true story. I had complete anxiety attack that I was going to have to be filmed, and I had been, you know, pounding, you know, these vegan pizzas and these, you know, vegan ice cream sandwiches for months, and I just didn't felt like I was ready. So I did try to get out of it for a second there until, you know, I just happened to mention to a friend that I was going to maybe, you know, go do another job with Mike at another time, and she just really talked me. Had
she read the script and seen that role, and you know, because he wrote that for you, right? He wrote that for you.
He did, yes. I mean, I don't even know if she had really read it all. She was just she could just see. I think this great friend of mine that I've had for many years, Chase Winton, she just. She could see I was going to sabotage myself. I mean, I think we can all. I've seen people do it. Yeah. I've never. It's hard to see yourself do it because you can't stand outside of yourself objectively. But I was really going to ruin it for myself. I mean, I was really going to. I just had this crazy idea that I couldn't do it, and that I would do maybe hopefully a future project with Mike. And my girlfriend was just like, you are insane right now. You're having some weird episode. I'm telling you, Jennifer, I will make you do it. You have to do this.
Wow.
And she was so pushy about it. And she was like, I'm telling you, you have to. Jennifer, this will be a huge mistake that you will never forgive yourself for. And she is right. You know, I mean, she was right. She was right. I don't know. I don't know her, you know.
I don't think anybody who sees that show could imagine anybody but you in that role. And that's the mark of a great performance right there. When you look at it and you say, Meryl Streep, forget it. No, Jennifer Coolidge here.
I think Meryl would have torn it up, but I'm glad she wasn't available. Yeah.
But it's extraordinary to see, and to see the reaction. I remember almost a year ago now at the Emmys, the last Emmys, you came out as a presenter, and there was nobody on that show. Winners, losers, presenters, whoever was on it that got that level of applause. The place went crazy when you walked on stage. And that was indicative that they were watching clearly the show that was unspooling at that moment.
Oh, well, the timing was good, but I also feel like I was just like, I think, you know what I mean? You know, I don't want to like, you know, just trash that, you know, cool moment or anything, but you know, but I do want to say that, like, I think people didn't know I was there or something, so I think that had that sort of maybe added to it, because I don't know. I heard some other people get some giant cheers, that's for sure. But but I do like that you're actually right as far as people had begun to watch it.
Yeah,
you're right, and as you say, you know, it did. You're right. So people, it was sort of happening in real time.
It was. Yeah,
you're right.
You could feel it. You could feel the love in the room and the reaction. I mean, I know mine. I loved watching. I don't like to binge much, and I didn't want to binge it. I just wanted to wake every week. It was just so cool to watch the show and where it was going, and you know, even the after show with Mike White saying, and all the characters talking about what they do. That was all interesting to me, you know.
Yeah.
What is it about it that just caught the zeitgeist? What is it about this show?
I don't know, but I'll be totally honest with you. I have never been involved with something that had that sort of before. Like, this is how I know it was really highly unusual. I was down in New Orleans, and I have these amazing neighbors, all these people that live around me, and some very cool, some of them very eccentric people, but they had these sort of White Lotus nights, and everyone would dress up in these sort of White Lotus costumes, whatever, and sometimes, I got invited to these things, because they would, it would be at a different person's house each episode, and that, I cannot tell you how cool that was. Where, I mean, people had elaborate costumes on, and they really were. Yes, and people in New Orleans really have the spirit of dressing up. But I've never been on a show where people were in the costumes as the show was airing. There was something really cool about that. And
that's like Rocky Horror Picture Show or something.
It was like and I remember thinking though the whole time, I'm really glad I was part of White Lotus too, but. Because hopefully they will dress up in a different way for that, and I can be involved. But I have to say, I've never. I really knew at that moment when I was sitting around looking at everyone dressed up in their Hawaiian gear, I was like, I don't know if I will ever get this lucky ever again. That where people are this crazy about a show.
Yeah, isn't it? Well, it's fun though. It's fun to have it. But you've had it many times here. But you mentioned White Lotus too, and I can't wait. You just finished shooting that in Italy, right?
I did. Yeah.
You're the only character that they brought back. It's a new group of vacationers, I guess. And
yeah.
What can you tell me about it? Is it going to be a continuation for your character, or is it completely different, or?
Well, the one thing I want to say is that Mike White knows how to tell a very exciting story. It's a very complicated but extremely elaborate show. I don't know how he was able to write all of these scenes. He just locks himself in a house up in some sort of villa in Italy and then just writes this epic tale. And I was there to witness other people's scenes there. The new group of actors is very exciting. It has the backdrop of Sicily. It's so, this new one has everything too. I think everyone will be pleased with the second one too. So
I can't wait. HBO put out a little promo for all their shows coming up, and there was just a little snippet of you on the back of a motorcycle. Is all I got to see here.
A little Vespa. Yeah. Little Italian Vespa.
It looks so much fun.
I'm so glad they didn't get the stunt woman. I actually got to be riding. Got to ride on that Vespa.
Oh my gosh. When is that going to be on? Do you know? Have they told you yet, or is it...
I don't think they've given us a date yet, but I know they're editing it furiously right now.
Before we have to go, I have to ask you, is there going to be another Legally Blonde? There's rumors. It's on IMDb.
I know. I read IMDb too. I see these things. I hear Reese, publicly saying it. I really hope so. I hope it does, and I hope I'm part of it.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
And and are you done with Stifler's Mom, or could that ever come back in your repertoire?
Gosh, I don't know. I would do it. I would.
Would you?
Sure.
That was a great character too.
Oh, that was sort of my. It was really my big break was American Pie.
Yeah,
actually,
you did a few of them. Yeah.
Yeah.
She was a great character. I mean, Janine, just popped right there in that whole cast and out of that.
Yeah, I know. I wish she had slept with more people.
Well, that's something to hope for in the next sequel to American Pie. I think
right.
we've got
put it out in the airwaves.
Right here. You just heard it here. You are so much fun, and this is so well deserved. I don't want to fawn, but Jennifer Coolidge, this is one of the great performances of the year. There's no question. And thank you for joining me on the Actors Side.
Thank you very much.